What's up again, everybody? I'm Clayton. Welcome back to Ages of Film. I know it's been a while. I've just been really busy with a lot of things going on, but glad I could put this video out for you guys. Hope you enjoy it. As you can tell by the title, today we're ranking the Coen brothers. So, yeah, Coen brothers, pretty popular duo of directors. They're brothers, and they put out a lot of good movies. So we're gonna rank them, all 19 movies by the Coen brothers. That's what we're ranking. That's what we're doing. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section if you agree with my list, or just your overall thoughts of the Coen brothers in the comment section. Are they your favorite directors? Let me know that as well. And also, just as a reminder and a disclaimer, guys, this is just my opinion on these movies. There's no need to be upset or offended by anything I have to say. With that being said, let's get into ranking Joel and Ethan Coen filmography. So Joel Coen is the brother of the two that is typically given the director nod. He's typically the one that's credited as director on their films. Ethan Coen is typically credited as the writer, but both guys do both things. They're both involved in the writing and they're both involved in the directing. So that's just kind of a little fun fact there for you. But starting from the bottom, working our way up to my favorite, coming in at number 19, we have Intolerable Cruelty from 2003, I believe. I believe it's 2003. Intolerable Cruelty, starring George Clooney. Not really a fan of this movie. 1.5 stars for me. I don't really care for the story or the message that it's got going on there. I don't think that the idea that the Coen brothers had really works in this film or practically in real life either. Their idea of romance or love or chemistry, whatever you want to call it, yeah, I don't think it worked in this film, nor is it practical either. So, and also the characters here, I also just, I didn't really care or invest with any of these characters. They just seemed really kind of sleazy and deplorable in a number of ways. They didn't really give me any likable qualities to them, anything there for me to admire about them or cheer for them, about. So yeah, just lack of anything to really kind of latch onto for me with this film. I think they've certainly done better from a writing standpoint, directing standpoint. Directing was decent, but yeah, that's about it. It's got a couple of things going for it, but I'm never going to come back to this movie again. I don't think it's very good. So Intolerable Cruelty, number 19. Coming at number 18, we have The Man Who Wasn't There, 2002, I believe. This was the movie just before Intolerable Cruelty, and yeah, also not a very good movie. I would give it 2 stars. I do think it's got a few things going for it. I think the acting for the most part is pretty good. I think Billy Bob Thornton, he's acting what's on the script. So he comes across as very mundane, boring, dull, but that's the character that's written. That's what's on the script. So he's doing a good job playing that, but I just don't really care about this character. He's all those things all those adjectives that I just listed. And because of that, I don't really care about him as a character. I don't really care about his story. The shooting, filming it in black and white is, I'm not sure how I feel about it. I see why it was an intentional decision, but I think that you should take advantage of color. So unless there's like a legitimate reason that a certain scene or movie needs to be in black and white, I say typically shoot it in color. And I feel like this movie didn't need to be black and white. Like, you could have shot this film in color, and the message, the meaning, all of that is still there. I don't know that shooting it in black and white really does anything positive for the film. In fact, I think it actually weighs it down a little bit for me. So again, I get it. I get why they did it. It's an intentional decision. I personally just don't know that I agree doing black and white unless there's absolutely a reason to do so. But yeah, that's it. 2-star film. Not very good, but it's got some things going for it. Coming in at number 17, we have the most recent one, the latest Coen brother film, which is The Tragedy of Macbeth. Technically not a Coen brothers movie because Ethan Coen was not involved with this one. He is stepped down from filmmaking, so his brother Joel Coen really kind of was the solo act in this film. He kind of did everything on his own for this one, so it's not technically a Coen brothers film, but a Coen brothers still made it, so I went ahead and included it on this list. 2.5-star film. It's decent. I think the acting is good. Again, black and white. This one, I think there's more of a reason to shoot this one in black and white. So I don't knock it that much for being black and white. I think there's a much more legitimate reason to do this one black and white than Man Who Wasn't There. But it's, you know, it's a story that, again, I already know what happens. So the suspense, and when it's a story that has been done over and over again and you're not tweaking anything, you really have to have characters at that point that really grip you and pull you in. And it just wasn't there for me. I love Denzel Washington as an actor. I think he's a great actor, and I think he does a very good job in the role that he plays. But, you know, and Frances McDormand, all the acting is great for sure, and the technical side, it's well written, and I like the cinematography. It's got things going for it. It's a decent film. I wouldn't say this is a bad film, but I also just, because I kind of knew what was going to happen, any suspense that was trying to be played out didn't really work for me. I kind of knew, you know, what was coming at every turn. I didn't, and because he also chose to go with the old English, King's English type of speech, again, it's not natural, it's not normal for present day speech. I get that that's how they talked then, but we're not living in the 1600s. You know, we're living in the 21st century, so it's just not how people talk today. And because of that, it really kind of pulls me out of the film, the dialogue, and the characters, the story. It just, none of that really gripped me, didn't really pull me in at all. I respect and appreciate the acting talent, the filmmaking that went into it, the sound, the score, all that stuff was good. So I think overall it's a decent film. Coming in at number 16, we have The Lady Killers, also 2.5-star film. I've kind of talked about The Lady Killers when I did my Tom Hanks ranking video. You guys can go check that one out. Because this movie stars Tom Hanks in the lead role, so I won't spend too much time on it. I kind of touched on it then. It's a decent film. It's got some things going for it. Definitely not the Coen brothers' best, definitely not Hanks's best, but decent film. Number 16. Coming in at number 15, we have The Hudsucker Proxy from, I think it was 1990. 1993. I think it was 1993 when this one came out. 3-star film. This would be the first movie on here that I would say is a good film. Film that I did like. I think it is a well-made movie. I think it's got some heart to it. I think it's pretty well made. The characters, I'm kind of iffy on the characters. I didn't really care that much about the characters, but I do think they bring some heart into it towards the end. And I also see the story that they're telling in the movie. And I thought it was a creative way to tell the story, an interesting way to tell the story. So, and I did like it. I was entertained enough through the film to say that this is a movie that I like. So a 3-star movie, nothing spectacular, but for me, I had a good time with it. So I would go Hudsucker Proxy, number 15. Coming in at number 14, we have Inside Llewyn Davis. I think that's how you pronounce it. Llewyn. I think it was Llewyn Davis. I didn't think that I was going to like this movie that much, but I ended up liking it quite a bit. It's kind of a bit of a slow movie, and that does kind of weigh it down some for me. It's one of those stories where I'm like, the COEN brothers always have a very interesting way of telling stories, but I don't know that all of their stories have something significant to say in them. And that's where I'm kind of drawn out a little bit. Like, I see what they're doing. I get it, but at the same time, it's not a story that really resonated with me. It's not a story that really did much for me emotionally. It was entertaining. I like seeing the non-linear structure, how they tell the story. I think the acting was pretty good. The characters I was pretty invested with along the way. So yes, a really good film. I'd give it 3.5 stars. It's number 14. Coming in at number 13, we have Burn After Reading. Fun film, 3.5 stars. Brad Pitt, Frances McDormand. Yeah, good stuff. There you go. Number 12, we have Hail Caesar. George Clooney is good in it. I think it actually does have something to say. I think it makes some pretty good statements about Christ and about religion and about faith and about love, which is kind of surprising, to be honest, coming from the COEN brothers, but I liked it. I loved the production design. The costume designs here were really good. I thought it was directed well. It's very entertaining. It's got some issues, I think, with the script and the writing. The story is good, but I think in the script it suffers in a couple of places. But overall, still a really good film. Some of the characters also, I don't know, really were my type of characters. I'll just say that. So yeah, Hail Caesar, fun movie. Really enjoyed it. 3.5 stars. Number 12. Coming in at number 11, we have Barton Fink. Another 3.5 star film. Really good. John Turturro is great in it. John Goodman is great in it. It's a movie that I could see going up upon more watches, more viewings of it. I could see this movie go up some for me. But it just, I think part of it is like through the first 2 acts, it's a bit slow in moments through the first 2 acts, and there's also stuff in there that I just feel like isn't really doing much for anything. It's, I'm kind of sitting there checking my watch like, okay, when are we gonna start getting to stuff that is actually impacting the movie, so, but once you get to that 3rd act and you start really kind of realizing what's going on and what's happening, it gets pretty entertaining and pretty fun. Dark film as well, which I like. I'm a fan of. So it kind of has some horror elements to it as well, especially in that third act when you realize like what's actually going on in the story. You're like, whoa, okay, that's actually pretty dark. But yeah, really enjoyed Barton Fink. Solid movie, 3.5 stars, number 11. Coming into top 10, with number 10, I'm going with A Serious Man. And I'll just say all 10 of these movies are 4-star films and higher. So I would consider all 10 of these movies to be great movies, including Serious Man. Great film. For me, what sets it back some is the characters. I have a kind of a hard time really getting invested with these characters. The story is, I think it actually has some heart to it, a lot of heart to it. Actually, a pretty powerful story that it's telling. But with any good story, you need good characters to fill it out, to tell that story. You can have the best story in the world, but if you don't have the characters that bring you into the film, if you don't have characters to invest in, if you don't have characters that are super memorable or whatever, then the story, it can be as great as it can be, but the character standpoint, there's going to be a disconnection there, and that's kind of my issue with Serious Man. Great story, very well told, well directed, but the characters just, I'm not fully engaged with them, so it does bring it down some. It's not the most rewatchable movie either. There's moments in it where I'm kind of bored a little bit, but overall, it's still a great movie. It's definitely worth checking out. Serious Man, 4-star film, number 10. Coming in at number 9, we have Blood Simple, the debut film of the COEN brothers, their first film. A really good movie. It's definitely not on the technical level as some of their other movies that they would go on to make, but it is still a great movie with great characters and still a great story. So it kind of hits on all fronts for me. And it also is kind of like that thriller type of suspense movie that I enjoy those type of movies as well. Kind of gives you some horror vibes to it. But yeah, just a really solid debut film by a pair of brother directors that would go on to have a really stunning, great career. So yeah, Blood Simple, 4-star film, number 9. Coming in at number 8, we have Fargo. Now, this is a movie that I tend to see towards the top of people's list for the COEN brothers. I like the movie. I really do. It's a 4-star film. I got it number 8 out of 19. It's pretty good. I love the movie. I'm just not as big on it as some of their other work. It's a great film. I would never argue against that. It's more the subjective thing for me, where it's personally, when I'm watching it, again, it kind of goes to the character thing. The story is brilliant, genius, very well written. It's got something to say. It's got heart. But the characters, I'm just like, okay. I could kind of take or leave most of these characters in the movie. They don't really do much for me. So because of that, again, it's kind of gonna kind of fall a few spots for me. Because for me, a movie to be like really rewatchable, it's got to have great characters. It's got to have characters that I want to go back and watch, characters that I want to see again, characters that I quote often, or characters that, really leave an impact on me. So it goes back to what I was saying earlier, where the movie can have the greatest story ever told, but if it doesn't have the right characters to tell that story, or the characters that bring you into the film, then it's never gonna land really higher for me than 4 stars. So that being said, Fargo is a great movie. I'd highly recommend it. It's very well made. 4-star film, number 8 for me. Coming in at number 7, we have Oh Brother, Where Art Thou from 2000. Another George Clooney film, team up, collab, whatever you want to call it. Great film. Love it. Very entertaining. It's got really humorous moments. I like the storytelling. It's kind of the same issue with Fargo with the characters. The difference, though, here for me would be the entertainment value. I'm more entertained from start to finish with Oh Brother, Where Art Thou than I am with Fargo. It's not that Fargo is not entertaining. It's just that I get more entertainment and enjoyment from Oh Brother, Where Art Thou than I do with Fargo. So, but again, character-wise, none of these characters are really that memorable for me. So I think the Coen brothers put a lot of focus on the stories that they're trying to tell and how they want to tell them. And I think sometimes they lose the character connection and writing in characters that it will really connect with audiences. Maybe it's just me. Again, I know that a lot of Coen brother movies are just beloved by so many people. And I love a lot of these movies. Again, all of my top 10 movies on this list are 4-star movies and higher. So that should tell you what we're dealing with when we're talking Coen brothers. Great filmmakers, but I'm just trying to explain why certain movies are where they are for me. That's it. Coming in at number 6, we have The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. And The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. Another Coen brother Western, but this one is more of a Coen brother original Western. It's not a remake or an adapted type of screenplay, where like True Grit, which obviously I haven't mentioned yet, it's going to be higher on this list, is a Western film by the Coen brothers, but it's a remake of the 1969 True Grit with John Wayne. So this one, however, is a Western that is an original Coen brother piece. So I love that about this movie, and I also love how they take the kind of storytelling where they break the movie up into different chapters. So it's like different sequences of different stories. So like each chapter is telling a different story with different characters, and I really enjoyed it. It's not a movie that I've heard get talked about a lot from Coen brother people or whatever, but I don't know. I loved it. I actually had a really good time with it. Very entertaining. I liked pretty much all of the stories within the movie. I think there was maybe 1 or 2 that I wasn't like that rah-rah about, but overall, I thought it was a great film. Very, again, well made. The acting in each story was good. I love the ending. How that last story ends was really dark. Again, Coen brothers tend to leave their films on kind of a darker note, which I enjoy. So yeah, I really enjoyed Ballad of Buster Scruggs. 4-star film. It's my number 6. Coming in at number 5, we have Raising Arizona. 80s film. I think this was the second feature film by the Coen brothers. A comedy film with Nicolas Cage, John Goodman. Yes to that idea, that concept. I love this movie. We're going up another notch here to 4.5-star film. I love Raising Arizona. It's one of my favorite comedies. I'm not like a huge comedy film guy. I don't watch a whole lot of comedy movies. They're just not my real like go-to genre. There are some great comedy movies out there for sure, but it's not typically a genre that I gravitate to or watch a whole lot. But the comedy films that are great are really great, and this is a truly great comedy that still holds up. The humor still works for me. Seen it multiple times, and I love it. I really love this movie. I was tempted to put this one higher, but when I was ranking these movies, the 4 that I have above it, I just couldn't put this one over the other 4. Although it was close, and I wanted to because I love this movie. But yeah, great lines, great dialogue, great directing, acting is good by everybody, and this movie actually has characters that I actually really love and enjoy. So that's another kind of difference here between this one and some of the prior ones on this list. So Raising Arizona is my number 5. Coming in at number 4, we have The Big Lebowski. Yes, from 1998, I think it was. Big Lebowski. 4.5-star film. Love it. This is one that's also tends to be, right there at the top of a lot of people's lists, and for good reason. I totally get, if this is your favorite Coen brother movie, I totally get it. It's a great film. I love this movie. It's ridiculously good. Another one that you could call a comedy. I consider this a comedy. The Coen brothers have a very unique way of doing comedy movies. They're not your typical type of comedy movies. They're comedy movies Coen brothers style, and I love that. I think their style of filmmaking works really well in a comedy film, because both of their comedy movies here are top 5 for me on this list. So I think they probably should have done more of that throughout their career. But yeah, I love The Big Lebowski. Jeff Bridges in it, man, just so good. John Goodman he's got one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Even the cameos that we get from John Turturro and some of the other characters, just really, really good stuff. Very quotable. The dude abides. Come on, you gotta love Big Lebowski. 4.5-star film. It's my number 4. Coming in at number 3, we have a movie I've mentioned but haven't ranked, and that is True Grit from 2010. If you're new to my channel, I'm a big Western movie guy. I love a good Western, and True Grit is not only a good Western, it's a great Western. I love True Grit. I actually really like both True Grit movies. I love the original John Wayne True Grit from 1969. And I also love the Coen brother remake from 2010. A great film, man. 4.5-star film for me. Have I reviewed this movie? I don't think I've reviewed this movie. No, I don't think I have. Maybe I should. But great film. I love it. Very rewatchable. It's quotable. It's got great characters. Yeah, there's a couple of things that keep it from hitting that 5-star rank. One of them being the last scene, the last sequence of this film when what's her name? Who's the character, the main girl character in the movie? What's her name? Anyways, when the last scene where it shows her as an adult and she's going to visit Cochrane. I don't know that we really needed that. That's one thing. Like, as a movie, I prefer the True Grit remake over the original, although I still really like the original. But if there's anything in the original that I prefer over the remake, it would be the ending. I think the ending in the original True Grit was better written, better handled. I think it was just a better ending overall than the ending in the remake. I just felt like we could do without that last sequence. And I actually thought that they could have ended it the same way that the original ends their movie. But Coen Brothers wanted to be different and creative, which I respect. But yeah, I don't know. It doesn't... Part of what makes a 5-star movie is the ending, because the ending is what you leave the movie with. That's, the ending is how you leave the film. And if you don't stick that ending, it can stop you. It can stop you from being a 5-star film. And for me, 9.5 of this movie, 99.5%, 95% of this movie, I really love and enjoy and think is just great stuff. But that ending, I just didn't really care for. And then there were just a couple other minor issues that were just minor enough to keep this out of 5-star tier for me. But yeah, maybe I'd maybe go into them more if I was doing a full review of the movie. But overall, great film. Love this movie. Great Western. Highly recommend it if you haven't checked it out. It's my number 3. Coming in at number 2, and I'll just go ahead and say both of these top 2 for me are 5-star films. So there's not much difference between these two movies. It's subjective preference type of thing. But for me, my number 2, I'm going with No Country for Old Men. 5-star film. It's a masterpiece, man. I have reviewed this movie before. Yeah, everything about it is it's solid, man. Great characters, great directing, great storytelling. It's got something to say. Love Javier Bardem in it. It's just phenomenal. Josh Brolin is phenomenal. Tommy Lee Jones is phenomenal. And it's a movie that sticks with you. Unlike some of the movies below this film, this one actually sticks with you. It's a movie that, for me at least, when I watch it, Javier Bardem's character really sticks with me. I think about him the rest of the day or the next day or whatever. It's one of those movies that has characters that work. They work because they are very impactful and they're characters that stick with you. So yeah, it has that element to it for me. And it's rewatchable, very rewatchable. Everything's working. The technical side of things are there. The writing, the directing, all the enhancements are there. Yeah, great film. Love it. 5-star film. It's my number 2. But coming in at number 1, my favorite Coen Brothers film is, of course, Miller's Crossing, the only film I haven't mentioned. Here it is. Miller's Crossing is my number one. Obviously, this is also a 5-star film. I think this is a perfect movie, man. I wouldn't say I'm like the biggest mobster type of movie fan. There are a number of mobster, mafia type of movies that I love. Goodfellas, obviously Godfather Part 1 and Part 2 are just two of the greatest films ever made. And there are some other ones as well, but for me, Miller's Crossing is right up there with the best of the best mobster / mafia type of movies. Arguably the best of that genre. Just a great film. I love John Turturro in this one. One of his best performances, in my opinion. He's phenomenal in the movie. I don't know the guy's the lead actor. I can't remember his name. I don't know him very well. He does a great job in this movie. An absolutely great job. Again, the opening is a banger. The ending is a banger. The characters stick with me. Very rewatchable. Great score. Great production. Quality is all there for me. Love Miller's Crossing. If I'm in a mobster mafia movie mood, there's a good chance that I'm gonna throw on Miller's Crossing. There's other, like I said, Godfather Part 1 and Part 2 are certainly in contention for that top spot, but Miller's Crossing is right there with them. So yeah, there you go. Miller's Crossing, my favorite Coen brother film, 5 stars. Yeah, there you go. What do you guys think? Do you agree with my list? Do you disagree? What is your favorite Coen brother movie? Let me know in the comments section. Also, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. It helps out the channel a lot. I appreciate all you guys sticking with me. You know I love you. And until next time, kick it and rock on.